that.
All right, Hobo, since you're on stream, why don't you introduce yourself, the event, and,
Hello?
yes,
So,
greetings.
I am Hobo. I'm here with Slammer Nintendo Circus. We are currently casting a tournament held by Slammer that is a team format. Each weekend, each team will play a new team until all teams have played one another. This is the second day of the first match, and we have the teams. Let me pull it up here. Do you guys know which teams are today? Or the names, at least?
Yeah, it's OPCATA versus Team Daz. I mean, OPCATA is, Prankster Gangster, sequel, Slammer 4, Hey Slammer, and Hero of
So,
Ages
guys,
versus Team Daz, which I'm just going to say, it is Team Daz. It's Daz and then Achilles, who's playing now, Kaitaro, and Physics Fan.
yeah, definitely Daz is the headliner of that lineup. I saw Axilles play one game, which was kind of an uninspired Rax versus Rax, I think against Kitaro, and he lost. So I consider all three of those guys, other than Daz, to be kind of lower on the totem pole here. I think Physics, from what I've seen of him, his macro is a little bit less than it used to be, although in the past he's been a top player, so it's possible he could pull some really good play out if he digs deep and practices.
I have seen him grinding a lot more games, but I don't want to, especially since you're on that team, I don't want to give away what specifically I've seen him grinding, but let's just say, yeah, it wasn't, we'll just let that show up when it shows up.
We'll see how things roll out here. I know players on my team have been practicing a good amount. Prankster, actually, probably not too many people know him, but he's been playing quite a bit lately, and I think he's got a pretty solid game overall.
I remember Prankster Gangster,
so-
but my first interaction with him was as a map maker, as like a mod guy, not really as a player. So it'll be interesting to see like what his level is up here against a shield.
Let's get this party started.
I'm just trying to finish up figuring out how to, get the thing to record.
Yeah, that's fair. Worst case scenario, you can save the video afterwards, and then here's the bootleg solution, Hobo. You watch the video on Twitch, open up OBS and record the video on Twitch, and then save it.
It didn't save to Twitch last time either.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm trying to figure out
There's
how to
a setting on Twitch that says save broadcast, but let's get into this game, guys, because we are live.
Absolutely.
We've got in the top right Axilles PV, in the blue representing Team Latin Block, and in the bottom left representing Team OPCATA, we have Prankster Gangster. House is coming down for both players. Not a lot of indication what build order we're going to see, although I will note no workers running across the map yet, so perhaps no proxies on the cards at the moment.
Interesting house placement by Axial's PV. That usually means he's going to try something abnormal. Doesn't defend the natural.
I have a small chore to run right now, so you guys can cast. I'll be back soon.
Absolutely. Okay. Hobo, I think you had an interesting stat that was basically that cheesing is a quick way to lose
in this tournament so far.
Now, we're only week one of a team league that runs for, at least a month. So at least 5 more goes, I believe. So not much to say. Oh, Prankster Gangster, though.
It looks like we have a double den opening. I'm not a big fan of Axial's placement here. That house sure can help defend the workers, but it leaves his expansion very open.
Mm-hmm.
It's already open from the back, and now it's just as open from the front.
Yeah. Now, I've heard that one Rax expand does really, really well against this 2-den opening because you can make raiders. If you have comparable micro, you could just make a lot of silly things happen with pulling workers. You don't even need a tower,
but
really.
The key thing there is, again, you have to have comparable micro.
Yeah, there is a level, I think, that you're getting to, and I was trying to allude to, at which if your raider micro isn't good enough, it doesn't matter that in theory that's a good hard counter if your control can't handle it. So,
it's a soft counter.
It is really scary when there's 7, 8 wolves, and they have 2 raiders.
And we're taking an abnormal path for scouting. Potentially looking for
proxies. It looks like Prankster's kind of trying to prepare. Yeah, exactly. Prepare for proxies or anything that might be on the map.
I think seeing this first wolf, if he sees this first wolf, they'll see each other. Hello? This is the meaning of the mines. There we go.
Yes. I just see this first wolf try to work its way to the expansion to scout if there's a castle going down.
I wouldn't mind a TP to try and get some more damage on this wolf, but
Prankster's still scouting around with one of his other wolves.
A little bit too bad he's not scouting for the castle timing here. I think he's just very concerned about any kind of rush coming at him.
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing out of this. This isn't, I'm going to make 2 den and then push across the map and
this could be very dangerous for the
Raider,
though.
Axilla is playing with fire here. He went for an archer instead of a second raider. So if all these wolves run across the map, it's a little sad they're all just kind of camping at the base. Because if they all run across the map, then there's no way that Axilles could hold this many wolves. I mean, it's 8 wolves against 2 Rax units.
It's also 3
But it looks like Prankster's very content to camp.
Also, they may be avoiding spam that would otherwise artificially...
A tower before the expansion. Prankster's playing extremely
safe.
Dude,
he's not understanding what he's playing up against. Yeah, he's not scouting at all.
This is just...
Since he's falling behind in the eco, he doesn't have the castle up. He has to do something with his unit advantage. So he's just going to fall behind for the rest of it.
He just doesn't he doesn't realize he's up against a 1 Rax expand. I'm not exactly sure why he thinks it's a 2 Rax. Because he hasn't scouted anything that would say 2 Rax. He hasn't scouted a second raider.
Not for the base.
I think this alludes to one of your earlier points, which is that the 2 den wasn't an in-your-face 2 den. It's I'm kind of afraid. I want to make sure I don't get cheesed out and lose in silly fashion. This also might
by doing so, he's going to lose for not macroing.
I mean,
he's definitely going to be a bit behind, but also notice Axilla hasn't transferred his workers. So this is really showing the inexperience here. Because he had only 16 workers, so he's getting a little bit ahead, but he's not that ahead. And he's also not transferring, he even has workers idle.
So why is that important? Like, why can't you just have like all of your workers in one and then slowly saturate the other one? Like, just for anyone who's watching perhaps doesn't know.
So the first 6 workers on the mine are the most efficient. So basically workers 1 through 6, particularly I think 1 through 3 especially, do way more mining than say like workers 7 through 10 on the main mine. So you definitely want to get those first 6 transferred right away. And if you check the income tab here, you can see the total is actually not that much higher for Axilles, even though he has 2 bases. So now Prankster understands what's going on. He scouts
the worst thing that Prankster could do right now is take all of these wolves and just move them into the natural. As long maybe this is kind of rolling with the punch here. It's clearly not. It's not the greatest, but maybe Prankster is saying, as long I know from practice or something else like that, speculating that I'm better. So as long as I don't lose the game, I can macro out. I can out macro you. I can play a longer game more than you. Because unless he's been smurfing or on a different ID, I know that Prankster Gangster has been playing Little War Game longer than Axial. So that may be the bet that he's taking. As long as I don't get proxy 2 racks, I'll be okay.
He's being very active with his wolves, scouting all around the map. He's now getting snake dens down.
He did
definitely the total miner of about 300 ahead for Axils.
Yeah. He also has good knowledge that this third is about to go down for Axils. So, and like you said, he has a wolf at the other third to know that that's not going up. That's a likely 5th base, possible 4th base, but likely 5th base location. So, Snake Charmer rather, finishing up here for Prankster Gangster. He's got 3 dens, and at this point, like, does he just throw down 2 more dens and try to
mismarker the workers at his second? Pull them all off to the front lines for some reason.
I feel like Axilles hasn't quite macroed as well as he could have. I mean, we see he's got a bird, so like that cuts into a lot of worker production. Because despite how slow Prankster took, I mean, he built a tower and then built a really slow third. He's only 2 workers behind, and really the income's not horrendous, considering, I think, the opening.
Yeah, it's worth looking at the income and saying that it's actually a bit better for Prankster Gangster, which is a bit strange considering that Axil is about to get up his 3rd base.
Yeah. The total here is about 200 gold better for the blue player, but that's not bad considering the opening, I think, that Prankster went with.
Prankster's also being really annoying with this wolf and just making sure that Achilles actually protects it so that third castle can go down. There's a wolf in the main, so he can see, if he keeps this wolf alive in the main, he'll be able to see what tech is coming up. As long as he just doesn't randomly throw it into the army, into workers, something like that, he'll get to see what's coming up pretty soon.
Both players have a scout in the middle, so they'll be able to see if each one pushes out.
I had learned something interesting, but I'm not sure if it's concretely the case. I heard that you could put a bird at like the intersection of the plus on the double high ground in the middle, and I know snakes can't reach it, but also archers can't reach it, like without the range upgrade, or it's really hard for them to see it and hit it. It's something like that. So
you can't see it unless you have like an air unit to spot for it, I think. And I'm pretty sure the archers can reach it, but they have to have that spot. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people actually put birds there for sure.
So we see a little force over here. I think Prankster underestimated the army size that Exils was showing over at the third base, because I don't think this force is going to get much accomplished unless Exils is kind of away on business. But I will say Prankster's doing a phenomenal job keeping this wolf.
This Raider's doing nothing down the bottom base.
Yeah.
A nice pick off on a worker as well at the top here by this wolf. So that's a nice play, kind of taxing Exil's APM a little bit too. But overall, pretty good macro from Exils. He's up to 29 workers. He's got 4 barracks, and he's got a really good Rax army. And really, his army is going to be better than Prankster's, because Prankster has no tech on the way. He's just macroing out 3 Den Wolf Snake, which no upgrades and nothing else. It's not the strongest thing in the world.
He also hasn't been producing a lot from the third Den there.
Exils, now that he's finally cleaned up the wolf in his main base, is getting the church, and this is a worrying sign for Prankster Gangster, right? Because as you were saying, he's got Wolf Snake with no upgrades, and now he's going to be up against 4 racks with a church, and it takes a lot to kill a bunch of soldier archer that have healing wards thrown down on top of them.
There's also some unfortunate SimCity down in the natural for Axials. He bucks in some of the unit spawn locations.
Yeah, I mean, this archer, who needs a tower with SimCity like this? Like, this archer is going to kill an infinite number of wolves. It's just prepared. But speaking of preparation... Every time that
barracks rallies, you're going to see more units pile in there, I think. Oh, maybe not.
I thought the rally is going to die here for Prankster Gangster as he's trying to take his 4th. He's got to know that this pretty scary army is coming his way. Like, he's got a tower at the 3rd. He's got a tower at the main, natural rather. He's got a small pile of Wolf Snake, but...
I think Prankster could defend that if he pulls workers and fights under the tower. And meanwhile, he has that thing up top.
Yeah, he has that counterattack you were alluding to up at the top, and that actually, it makes Achilles turn around. It makes Achilles turn around. He could have pushed in, I think, for considerable damage, but
which is so important because those dragons are coming, right? The dragons should be here in a couple minutes, but
the fortress is just finishing. It's just now finished, and so that actually.
And these units that he's streaming down there are just going to get killed off.
That also bought 2 to 3 production cycles worth of Wolf Snake, and now the force at the bottom is actually somewhat comparable, and he's going to get away with the force at the top. And that's a lot of denied mining time. For a little while there, Prankster Gangster had more than double the income of his opponent, and now it's looking kind of good,
It's a solid 400 gold lead.
Not only that, but he's lost, 480 less. So we're looking at nearly 1,000 gold differential here for the biggest player. And he got his 4th base up, and the tower's going up. And I believe Slammer said, or maybe it was you, Hobo, dragons are coming up. So
dragons are still really late, though. He's going to have to fight this big army without dragons, it looks like. He has about 20, 30 supply up. Which is really what you have to be, especially considering it's equal on upgrades.
Yeah, unless he
needs to continue to poke with this army on the top because, he has 20 supply in Wolf Snake at the top of the map. That's not going to be there to defend. He's definitely have to use his towers to fight this because this is so much soldiers.
If he fights this straight up, he needs to pay. Okay, he notices he's pulling back the units. He's made towers at the 4th base. There's a tower at the natural, tower in the 3rd. And like you said, okay, he is doing what you're saying, doing that little counterattack up the top. It's going to hit before that tower is finished for Achilles. So it's really up to Achilles to try and get some damage done. Otherwise, he's going to have to go home empty-handed again.
There are a lot of soldiers down there, though. It could be very dangerous.
Oh, definitely. And absolutely. But Achilles is not reacting to this attack at his 3rd. All of these workers are still mining. Okay, there's finally a response there. But
I think the micro from Prankster is pretty good here.
Also, Prankster's kind of messing with reinforcements at the
Oh,
top there. So here's
I don't know if you guys just saw that down there, but the soldiers were just walking into it, not even attacking.
So this is really efficient. Like, some of them are getting split off, and all these snakes went into the natural. They seem to be focus firing workers specifically. Yeah, this is really good. This is really
There's now
good.
an archer and a soldier trapped behind the barracks wall.
Like, if you look at the units lost tab, it's 700 gold in favor of Prankster Gangster, and the real story there is that Prankster Gangster has killed 12 workers. So this attack needs to do considerable damage, and there's no priest to heal all of these weakened soldiers.
And they're fighting under the cover of the tower.
He's fighting under the tower. He hasn't even had to pull the workers yet. He can just keep streaming in units, and once snakes are on top of archers, not a single one of these units is escaping. Like,
yeah, these archers are now going to be left for dead because all these den. Look, there's so much den production for Prankster. He's going to be able to quickly overwhelm this, and he has his 4th solidly up. Dragon's coming. The only thing I'd really love to see is some upgrades from. Actually, both players could really utilize upgrades, but Achilles isn't mining. He's not mining his 3rd, even though he actually cleaned that up.
I mean, what's crazy to consider is Prankster is up 15 workers. He's up 30 supply.
It looks like there is another misclick. He pulled all workers from his 2nd and some workers from the main to all go down to the 3rd there.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think he's
it's interesting. I feel
caught up with the army micro.
I was going to say, Achilles has shown that he followed the build order pretty well. Like, he got his natural, he got his 3rd, like, he followed the set plan. But as soon as things started getting chaotic with, like, counterattacks, and he has to, micro at multiple places, he really started falling apart here. I mean, you could see priests and soldiers just kind of wandering around, just bad mining. His main is even not saturated. Like, just disorganization from our Raps player.
There's like 22 workers down on his 2nd base, or his 3rd castle rather.
Yeah, I see it. And Prankster's also up 50 supply. And I was talking a little bit earlier about the execution of the raiders, where if your APM isn't that high, it might be difficult to do it effectively. But if you look at this, like, Achilles has less APM than Prankster, and it's also, like, it's difficult for him to split off. It's difficult for him to deal, like you were saying, with those attacks at the 3rd, with the fact that his workers have to get re-rallied. And he did have a good build order, he did have, like...
He had the build order advantage for sure.
Oh yeah, 1 racks, into expand, here's your raider, go scout the opponent. Okay, now get your 2nd racks, now go get your 3rd, add extra racks, get your church, not necessarily
an important
And instead of
game.
attacking with the workers, he's gonna just pull back.
I mean, there's no reason to
pull back. We have a major snake attack at the top. That's going to probably kill that. But at the same time, Achilles is actually cleaning out the 4th base. And it looks like Prankster is very content just to counterattack. He's sending dragons across the map.
This is
Prankster has also
fine.
gone to 5th castle, though. Up in
He's so happy to trade. Yeah, and he's so happy with trading his...
up there.
He'll trade his 4th base for Achilles' 3rd base that's been under harassed this entire game. And, like, look, all the workers, a good portion of workers have been pulled, and it'll only be barely enough to clean up. And there's snakes sitting here in the natural, like, making the reinforcements not even able to help with the defense of the 3rd. Like,
and we're looking at a 150 supply beast player against a 68 supply Rax player. Now, Prankster needs to use his dragons. He's got dragons that are... There's really no counter dragons right now in the game.
Oh, no, there's not. Like, there aren't any archers.
There's 2 archers and a single priest on the field for Axials.
There's not an advanced
4 total workers mining.
Anywhere in sight.
5 now.
Yeah.
Even the 4th base is actually not dead. It got repaired up. So Prankster didn't even lose that.
That's actually...
There's 47 workers to 11 at this point.
It's not like that would have been satisfactory compensation for everything going on in his 3rd and natural, but at least killing the 4th base, maybe you have some kind of in or some kind of play, but you don't even get that, and now all these units are going to get cleaned up.
Complete win here from Prankster. And I think this kind of shows a little bit why Prankster went for that really safe opening, because he felt pretty confident in the macro game.
Oh, yeah.
And that ended up actually being the correct call, even though he didn't have to be as safe as he was.
Yeah, he was extremely safe, like 2-den into tower, into expand, and not attacking 2-den, just making sure you have units.
GG's called at 15 minutes.
Yeah. Good decision from Prankster. Wasn't cheesed, and he ended up winning through the longer game.
For sure. Really cool game there. Well played from Prankster Gangster. Look at the gold mine. He mined 1470 to 9,000. So nice play there from Prankster. Now, our next match is going to be SQL. I thought I had a stream delay on. It should be a stream delay, but it looks like people are right away. So I don't know.
That's 1-0 for Team OPCATA. And then I think you said the next one was Sequel versus Kaitaro, right? That's
which
on Xenos.
is the only slightly sketchy thing because I don't see SQL in the game anywhere. And he also hasn't messaged me on Discord. So
could try and play around. Like, it's up to you though. It's not my event. It's funny how that works.
Say that again.
Well, you could change the order of who plays who if you get some indication that he'll show up, soon or something like that. But
yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten anything from him in like a couple days, so
I'll be
we'll
right
see.
back, guys.
I'm gonna take a small break, use the restroom, grab a slice of pizza, and I'll be right back.
For sure.
I'm back. So, while waiting for on finding sequel, what are your thoughts on the tournament so far, Slammer?
So far, been really cool. I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I watched all the replays. Yeah, and it was really lit. I was a little bit surprised that Team Destroy Call dominated so hard the Nerf Raiders. Other than that, it was really cool. I think the first match was pretty closely contested there, with YOLO able to take out Drunk in a close match. That was cool to see. Yeah, Arenas not quite up to the challenge of Glaba and AC. Both Glaba and AC played really clean games there. So yeah, no, it was really fun though. Overall, I thought it went really well. This one's off to a good start. The forces of good have been victorious in the first match, so we'll see.
We have no bias here, but if we did have bias, it would be in favor of one of the dudes who is literally one of the captains of the team.
A little background though, like I had seen a game of Exilies, and I was telling Prankster, I was like, bro, you're gonna win in a macro game, just be safe. I didn't exactly mean for him to be that safe, but
that was a bit overkill, right?
It was overkill. I was like, if he goes 2 racks, this is what you do, and it's like, but also I forgot to say, hey, scout for 1 racks, but whatever. So normally my thought process was, if we had a no-show, is the lowest seeded player in the team would play again.
Okay.
So I think for our tournament, that would mean that like we'll play me and Daz first, and if Sequel's still not here, I think we will play Hero of Ages next, and then if he's still not here, then we'll play probably Prankster again versus Kitara.
Okay. I admit my surprise when I saw that Sequel was one of the people playing. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen him again in a little while. It's pretty good. And so with that, how much longer you want to wait until we move on, as the case may be?
Basically, as soon as Daz gets here, we'll play.
Okay.
So she's on his way, but not here quite yet. But as soon as he's there, we'll play. I don't want to mess up the order of the games too much if I can help it.
Yeah, absolutely, because it actually does matter. Like for instance, when our team, Hobo and I are on the same team, for anyone who doesn't know offhand, when the two of us were playing with our team games, yeah, we did get a bit lucky that Full Collapse versus Destroy Call was the last match, because who knows how that goes, right? And we happened to win the 3 before that. But if one of us had been no-shows, then, like, if we change the order around, maybe we lose that game that was supposed to be 4th, but we lose it 3rd. Then it's 2-1, and then it could just change. The order changes the entirety of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a question that did come up yesterday, Slammer. If the 4th game is played, if they're already up by 3.
I actually think it's worth playing it, even if someone else, like if the other team has won 3-0. Because, I know that you're keeping a stat sheet that tracks how well people are doing.
And in the interest of, if it comes down to a tiebreaker to get into the semifinals, or whatever the case may be, then
also,
that kind of score could do
there's a big difference. There's a big difference between your team wins, 3-1, and maybe they clawed one out, but you ended up losing, versus 4-0, like you just got completely destroyed. Everything went terribly. And those are both pieces of context you don't get if you just say, it's 3-0, wash our hands of this, like Pontius Pilate, just move on from there, like on to the next thing. So Slammer.
So do you guys have your stream running, by the way?
Well, I believe Hobo does. I could be mistaken. Mm-hmm. It's happened before.
I should have it up.
So in that case, I'll host Curse Temple here.
No, for anyone watching, Slammer is not on his main account, gonna play Daz on an alt, so he has global vision of the map and cast with us. Like, be reasonable. So
I hosted same password as before.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, let me just flip a coin.
Okay. I'm a spectate.
Number generator.
Flipping a coin on his side where no one can see. The true random number generator. Oh, would you look at that? I got the same side I wanted. Like,
so it's on stream. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, stream is showing the random number generator.
Trying to be nice, fucking leave. Turn around top yet. God damn it. Start stroking me off.
My friends are reasonable people. That's all they're saying.
Mr. Kale has joined.
How did Mr. Kale know to join?
Kale likes someone's voice. There's 3 Mr. Casters, Mr. Kale. I'm gonna double check to make sure that my stream actually has a delay.
Pretty sure we're also all male, so like he has 3 equal opportunity cases. Like
mine has a 200-second delay, is what it's saying. I can double check that out.
Mine should be 300.
Well, he probably saw that what the password was when it was getting punched in for the last game, and then he said, "Oh, it's probably the same password," and so I just joined that way.
I think I started the stream after I was already in there, unless that was on Slammer.
So the thing is, I started the stream and then added the delay, so I just stopped it and started again, because yeah. So now the delay is actually working. So
Speaking of,
I don't know if you had the delay on. Sorry, what?
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of people who have nice voices, I've got to say, Slammer, did you get to listen to Hobo and Glaba cast? Those two people cast so well together. Like it's actually a criminal that we don't get to see that more often.
I did get a few messages afterwards about that from some on the Discord.
Oh, like you two have great synergy together. You don't have to throw away lines to each other. You don't run over each other's sentences too often, and you know how to fill gaps pretty well. Like, I was really enjoying listening to it. I was like, oh, this is nice. This is really nice.
Glad to hear it.
So Daz wants to warm up, so we're kind of waiting on him, guys.
That's fair. I mean, he doesn't live in the same time zone. He doesn't live in the United States here, without giving too much of people's information away. Should not be a surprise to most people who have played a bunch of games here. A lot of players are in Europe. They're in not the United States of America, so their time zones are a bit different. It is entirely possible that he has just woken up, or it's really late at night. You know, some version of events like that. Actually makes organizing these kinds of things quite difficult.
That's why whenever I'm talking about times,
I mean, it would be great if we all lived in, like, I don't know, the west coast of the United States of America, and we all just lived in like LA or San Diego or something like that. We just like, all right, everyone, get to it. You know when your games are, and then we find out that there's people like I'm pretty sure like Barbie, like Mr. Pankaka, like who are some other good examples? Dragon Archer Z, obviously, Mr.
AC.
Winter. These people don't live in the United States, and you can tell pretty easily, or they'll tell you themselves freely. So organization can. Yeah.
It seems like Daz wants more time to warm up, so I think we're gonna go ahead and play Kitaro versus Prankster.
Okay. All right, let's do this.
So is Prankster playing two games in this?
I think he is by virtue of Sequel not being present.
Yes, so it's going to the lower seed.
I think that's fair. If there was any subs, I could probably put a sub in, but no one is like officially a sub at the moment. So I might work on that in the future to get some people that want to play but aren't on the team. But for now, I think that's pretty fair just to have the lowest seed player. I think Prankster is definitely the weakest player left, so I think it's fair to throw him in there. It's not like we're throwing an ace, in there.
I mean, just so that everyone thinks that this is on level for anyone who can't see the team. So your team is Sequel, Slammer 4, yourself, obviously. So it's Prankster, Gangster, Sequel, Hero of Ages, and Slammer 4. And I don't think it impugns on the honor of Prankster, Gangster to say that I think that he's not as strong as the other three. That's fair. Just so that no one thinks that they're like, yeah, we're just gonna like sneak one in here. No. That said, well, I would have predicted Sequel versus Kaitaro to be, something of a stomp in Sequel's favor. I have to say, I don't know how Prankster Gangster versus Kaitaro works, because I know that I believe they're both of relatively the same skill level. That's my subjective experience playing with them. So it would be interesting to see who wins between the two of them. Like, all of a sudden, if you're Kaitaro, this is great news. You go from like, oh, well, I have to play a Sequel, shit, to, oh, wait a second, I'm playing Prankster Gangster? Okay, this
I
is
think
doable.
it's going to come down to control of mechanics.
I don't know why Kataro's confused. Yeah, I don't know how these people match up, but I think, yeah. So you guys want to join? I have a map Xenos hosted.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope we're not causing you to despair. I feel either a sense of hurriedness or something of that nature. You doing all right? I mean, obviously,
good.
Obviously,
just
it's
trying to
preferable if everything worked out perfectly. But you've done this multiple times now. How many events have you organized? It's gotta be. It's gotta
0.
be like really.
I haven't organized anything. This is the first time I've organized.
Really?
Okay.
Participate in plenty, organize few.
Who organized the other ones then?
I'm
Any
not
idea?
sure. I know I've organized 3, I believe.
They were shit. Okay. For some reason, I had the idea that Slammer, you've done this a handful of times already. Interesting. All right, so here we go. Yeah, the joys of organizing a tournament.
And my
so here we
computer
go.
is about to die. Just a sec.
That's not ideal. I suggest plugging it in.
In the top
in the
right.
top Okay, so I just want you to know every game. Oh, we'll introduce. So yeah, in the top right, we have our blue player. Let's go, Kaitaro. There you go. He does that to me all the time. And, in the bottom left, we already saw him win one game for his team. It's Prankster Gangster. He is a dark type Pokemon. He uses his special status to get priority on non-damaging moves, like a baller.
Be very interesting to see how the players play this one. It's interesting because Kitaro has a bit of an advantage since he just was able to watch Prankster play.
That's true.
So I wonder if he will go for that same one Rax expand that Axilius went for and try to just leverage the advantage a little bit better than Axilius was able to do.
Another thing to note is Prankster wasn't practicing for Kitaro. Same way with
He also wasn't
Kitaro.
practicing on this map. Like,
True.
It's the worst of both worlds. He hasn't practiced for Kaitaro, and he hasn't practiced on this map. So any builds that he was running through or any game plan he was running through, he's just kind of playing blind. And Kaitaro's gotten this kind of buff on any strategy that he wanted to do. Because assuming he didn't want to just play the game just to play it, but, concede that he's going to lose the game. Whatever his plan was on this map against Sequel, it's got to be a bit stronger against Prankster Gangster. Come on.
Already,
It does look like he's going for the same exact builder, though, the double den. So it looks like he's sticking with what he prepped for Axilius. He's going to play the same way.
Kitaro's doing a very similar thing to the previous player, Axios.
Okay. This will actually be an interesting study to see what the difference is between what Kaitaro does versus what Axilius did, considering that we're getting the same matchup.
It is a bit of a defensive wall that Prankster has going on there, blocking the main with a 2-block gap, and also having that wall by the workers. So if a raider were to come in, it would be very hard to harass.
Wait, we did have that coin flip, and I think the red spawn is actually definitely the better spawn because the ramp is better. You can actually wall that ramp with some units, and raiders can't run in at all. You don't have that ability on the top right because you can actually you can blink onto the ramp.
Down on the bottom right there.
Did he?
Almost got it.
The wolf got away.
With almost no damage on the raider. The raider does 51 damage, but this raider has to pull back because there's no second unit being built. What? Okay.
There's no second unit.
Yeah, there's no.
This is a problem.
Unit. Yeah,
he's gonna have to pull workers. But the
also
fourth and fifth wolf are quite late.
Yeah, there we go. Now some units are being spawned or are being built.
He should blink to kill. He should have blinked to kill that. Yeah. I wish Prankster would not go to the main.
He's pulling a lot.
He really needs to focus on the
natural. It does feel like these two wolves are kind of on an island now that they're in the main, right? Like they missed the opportunity to damage, and now this raider's
and the raider's gonna come out by the time they get out of the base.
Yeah, this excursion into the main, there was no new information to find out. He wasn't able to keep harassing the worker. There's a second raider, so these
Prankster's also not macroing behind this. Unless he's saving for the expansion.
We'll say these wolves at the top did deny a lot of mining time.
Some excellent micro though over here, or pretty good
saves
micro.
2 workers.
Yeah, he went from losing potentially 3 workers against those 2 wolves to losing 1 of them, which is good enough,
So now Prankster needs to be careful because he is low behind on units, but Kitaro is actually equal on workers, and the expansion for Prankster is coming down. So all in all, this is better for Prankster than actually the last game, funnily enough.
I do
because he actually has his natural out way faster.
And he's doing a lot more pressure than the previous game.
Yeah, I do think he's getting a little cheeky with these wolves. It'll be very easy to lose these wolves in silly fashion.
And he does focus on a worker.
It's pretty good. He is denying mining time in the main too, so that's something. That's
yeah, he's denied a lot of mining time. If we look at the income here,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually ahead by 200. That is Prankster, and that's really due to the mining time being so delayed and a couple workers getting sniped.
Also, his castle's about to be finished, so anyone who's thinking, "Oh, but he doesn't have a second castle," well, your argument's just been invalidated. Like, he now has 2 castles. He has more production. There's no second racks over here for Kaitaro because he literally can't afford it. You know.
Possible these wolves could maybe pick off another worker now that the raiders have left as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But with the 3 archers, it might be enough. Keeping the wolf up there would be good for scouting.
Well, at the very least, those 3 wolves at the top like leave an option. Yeah, he's trying to get a cute flank now that the raiders have no more teleport. He's gonna get some damage. I don't think he's gonna kill any of these raiders.
I think one raider might go down.
Wolves. It might, but he would take a lot of damage from the wolves. Finally, the wolf in the main has taken enough damage that Kaitaro feels he can mine naturally again.
Floating.
This is already a pretty cool game, though. Much more even than last game, as far as our starts go.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, please focus.
Raider about to get finished off.
Focus that wolf. Okay.
Ooh.
And the raider does go down. But Prankster is floating nearly 600 gold now.
That's a good macro.
Yeah.
And is about to
Prankster's really floating here.
This is the one thing I do worry about for Prankster is that, yeah, he's doing interesting things with his wolves, but there's kind of enough units now that Kaitaro can somewhat stabilize. And if Kaitaro, even through all of those heartaches, has stabilized and Prankster Gangster is supply blocked, even on supply, doesn't have his tech or production facilities, like this is a small map. Pushing is a possibility. Well, not so much now that Kaitaro has taken his 3rd, but I think this is a pretty safe 3rd.
Oh yeah, for sure. It does look like Prankster is throwing down a Snake Charmer and multiple dens, so he might be going for some sort of 2-base 5-den build,
I believe
which is going to hit a little later than
normal.
So
yeah, Kaitaro managed to get into the main, and if actually like a small thing is if Kaitaro, oh, he's gonna blink this away. Watch this.
And he did it too early.
No, he wanted it too much. But if I'm Kaitaro, I feel pretty good that Prankster Gangster feels so pressured that he made a tower, because that's gonna delay tech. That's gonna delay expansion.
We do have a couple of idle workers for Prankster Gangster as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Prankster Gangster built that tower to defend against an attack that's never coming. Like, we know that Kaitaro went for his 3rd base.
We do see a 3rd castle going down for Prankster as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kaitaro has to be careful with those archers up there. They're very exposed without a soldier.
Oh yeah, it'd be very easy for 6 wolves to come and start tickling them in a way that archers don't like being tickled, you know? Archers aren't Elmo. They're not made to be tickled. They're just not okay with it.
Kaitaro has just now caught up in the mining here, now that he's caught his 3rd base. Perfectly secure.
Placement of the advanced
so it's still going to be pretty even, but a good advantage for Kaitaro.
Very interesting placement for that advanced workshop for Kaitaro. Looks like he's preparing to do drops.
That's pretty chill.
Prankster's doing a nice job scouting for a 4th castle.
Very nice.
What do you guys think about the advanced workshop over here from Kaitaro? Because it is a small map, so priests can push pretty easily. But also, like, just because of the way the 3rd basin works for Prankster Gangster, it is possible to bounce between the 3rd and the main.
I think it's almost always a really good tool. Yeah, because he can pick up and get a advanced Ballistay in case dragons are coming. He just has a pretty solid like kind of defense setup.
Okay.
And he can also do those drops.
So it's more that he's like pre-committing to defending against dragons. And like you said, Kaitaro got to see Prankster Gangster's last game. He knows that Prankster Gangster goes for this. Or
get the worker. Oh my gosh, one more hit would have killed that worker.
Well, this wolf is gonna live. This wolf is like somehow shifting. Okay.
No, I don't think the wolf lives.
No.
Fido got taken down.
Rest in peace, wolf.
There's another
Once
wolf
again,
down
both players
the
forgoing
bottom
upgrades.
by soldier.
Yeah, Slammer, you were saying about the upgrades, like how bad is it that they don't have them? Like, what time frame would you be looking to get?
I think it's pretty bad, but since they both don't have it, it kind of doesn't matter. I think Beast needs it more than Rax, because if you get a death ball of Rax, you can just win. It doesn't even matter. But if you're going heavy wolf snake, or even if you're going for werewolves, you really need those upgrades.
Yeah, snakes.
And
I mean,
Prankster's
I've
getting the
said this
4th
a
castle
million-
here. Could be very dangerous.
That seems like a very risky force.
But he is going to see the
It's not the right timing
dropship.
for it. Might get a cancel, but if he moves his wolf snake in a good way, he might be able to deal
Excellent
with that.
drop
There is
down
one
there,
thing that
stopping the
concerns me
castle.
and there is one thing that concerns me about Kaitaro's army is that like if you look at all the forces sitting outside of his natural and between that and his third, like what is it? It's almost all archer. Now that's great, but to get back to Slammer's point, you know, if this was upgraded wolf snake for the plus attack, then those archers could get shredded very, very easily by snakes, and wolves love to get into melee
Even with
range,
that,
so.
he is behind by 15 pop.
Mm-hmm.
His dropship's getting dangerously low. He's gonna have to run away. He might actually run into the tower, but it looks
might
like he
kill
may
it.
just the.
The
Oh, one
tower's
more
gonna-
hit from the tower will do it.
And 4 full Rex units dead with that.
Yep, and that went from being up 15 supply to now
Just
being,
under.
You know, yeah, it actually cut down the advantage a bit. Just a small contingent of archers pushing out here for a potential fourth.
He has to
phase for
attack with the
Kaitaro.
workers, otherwise that's gonna just all die.
Oh yeah, he's found a little bit more than he can chew. He splits off a small number of units. He'll be fine to take that.
He'll deal with it.
Yep.
Both players really struggling with the macro at the moment. I saw
Loading 600,
Prankster had actually
400.
1K in the bank. Yeah, and Kataro's similar. Actually, I think Kataro could probably use maybe 1 or 2 more racks.
We do have invisibility coming out from Kataro, though.
And both
And-
of the testing labs are up here for Prankster Gangster, so they've kind of ameliorated the point you were talking about, Slammer. But to get to
No
your
upgrades
point,
coming
Hobo,
out
how
of the
bad is-
testing labs.
Yeah, how bad is invisibility for Prankster Gangster or against Beast in general? Is it that great of a tool, or is it just maybe?
It's really good.
Okay.
I think if he gets some
It
raiders
forces
with it,
protection and it adds damage.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. You get +4 damage for whatever you put the invisibility on.
It's very annoying to deal with invisibility as Beast, because birds are very annoying units to have to make, and micro as well. So yeah, I think invisibility tends to be really good to just always sprinkle in. I think I was watching, was it Norm playing yesterday, and I think he used invisibility really well in his match.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a Rax versus Rax, but I think it's still. Yeah, exactly.
the towers could make it okay to defend against the invisibility, but it would very much so restrict Prankster's mobility. We
This is an
see
important moment. We have a
Dragon's
big
about to come out
push
too.
for Kataro coming. Katara's up and upgrade, and he's on even supply. This is going to be very tough for Prankster to hold,
And
I think. This attack
Prankster's
looks
army is
really
just in
scary.
too many places at once.
It's going to take him a while to organize all his Wolf Snake, and his Whirls are not going to be here, his Dragons are not going to be here, his upgrades aren't going to be here.
He's
I
got
think he's
units
going to get
everywhere.
wrecked by this.
He's trying to do the
Yeah.
same thing that he did against Big Steel, that he's attacking at this point, threatening it up towards Prankster Gangster, like, is gonna run up against too much resistance for having snake type on.
Doesn't have the upgrades or the numbers to really harass the base up there. With tower and archers.
And he's really floating here.
Almost to thousands.
It's a real story for anyone who, has, since we've been masking it a little bit. 135 supply to 82. Those are not numbers you want when the Rax player is up in supply.
Yeah, the problem is that, I mean, you can see Prankster's he was at 1k gold just a minute ago. He just wasn't spending his money on, like, Whirls could have been way sooner, Dragons could have been way sooner, upgrades could have been way sooner. Really anything, just he should have had the units to hold this, but he just didn't macro his units well enough. And now he's, it's very tough to deal with this big Rax ball. There's really nothing that Kataro has left to fight this.
It's 140
And the
pops
attack
at
on the
80.
fourth. So good game from Kataro here. It looks like he's going to take this pretty cleanly with just a good 3-4 base macro push. The opening definitely was more even for Prankster, but I think Kataro showed he's quite a bit better than Exilius as a Rax player in this match. Just a much cleaner game overall from a Rax player here. And it looks like Latin Block is going to put a point on the board here, and we're going to be tied 1-1 going into our third map of the series.
Now, while we're going into that, how much of this for Kaitaro was played into by the smaller map? Because we saw that Prankster made Exio turn around like 2/3 of the way over bait because his beasts were just that more like the size of the map help that Kaitaro showed.
I think in general it's kind of the timing too, because Kataro pushed a lot later in this game than Exilius did in the other game. I mean, he pushed with almost a max army, really. And his reinforcements and towers were enough to protect his fourth. His third wasn't even under any pressure, so.
Another thing that really doomed Prankster was how split up his army was. It was just too far apart and not in control groups, making it very hard to help with the defense. No vision on the ramp is causing a lot of free shots from the snakes.
Yeah, but I don't think high ground abuse is going to be enough to fix this problem.
No.
A desperate castle in the bottom
this is
right.
Gaming. A good try from Prankster here, but he definitely got outplayed by Kitaro. So, by the way, Kitaro is a sub for Team Latin Block, so nice win here from the substitute that had to come in about a week ago. And we have GG.
Yeah, really well played for the team formerly known Team Dad, because all of a sudden, right, you were Kaitaro not favored against Wolves. Probably go into the next game, going to 3 down 0-2. You need next 2 to keep your tournament life on the line to go to the 8th match. Now it's 1-1.
It's a lot more of a risky situation.
Very, very well. Yeah, exactly.
Third map is myself versus Dragon Archer Z. Pretty important get map.
Oh, I mean, I'll set the context. You're both the captains for your team, right? I think both people, like anyone would say, you two are the highest rated people for your team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And so with that context, there's a lot riding the line, especially that it's 1-1. You know, like, guys, I'll get into more of it when you're not here, Slammer, just because I know we're waiting for Dad. But okay,
I've
go ahead. I don't want to give anything that I know about either one of you while the that makes sense. While you guys are waiting to start the game.
And the last game will be Hero of Ages versus Vizix. Or at least the last game, unless we have an ace.
Yeah. Correct.
So, however this goes, is going to put a lot of pressure on the final player regardless.
Mm-hmm. So, with that, Slammer, good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to pop out of here.
All right, take care.
And, yeah, enjoy.
Enjoy. And we'll just confirm, like, you can take a look, Hobo. Like, I don't see Slammer 4 over here. He's actually in the timeout corner of the Discord.
Taking a look
so
now?
no one thinks that.
I see it.
Yeah, just so that no one thinks that he's, like, listening in to anything that we're saying or taking advantage of that in any way. And, he's not that kind of guy, right? Slammer is very above board.
Mm-hmm. Over there in the timeout corner.
So now that we're into this, right? I actually played a game with Daz yesterday when I was about to go to sleep and he had just woken up or something like that. And he when he played against me, I wanted to play on this map because this was the map that I played in week 1, right?
Yep.
I played against Tupapa on this map. It was very long. Daz 2-raxed me.
Are you ready?
Like just a straight 2 racks. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Also, I will provide the context. With Slammer 4, former caster, current player, the once and future caster in the bottom left, and Dragon Archer C in the bottom right. So I will also say, so Daz 2 racks me. I will also say I've watched Slammer 4. He played a couple of games. He was playing against Hero of Ages on this map. And this context is important because, I know Hero of Ages match is coming up, but Hero of Ages played on this map, which is Slammer's map pick. So I'm not giving away anything Hero is going to do, right? And Slammer was trying to defend against 2 racks. So it seems like Slammer 4 has Daz's number for what he's potentially going to try to do. But it also seems
a pretty late house coming out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is the metagame play, right? Is that he says, you think you have to worry about a 2-den or a proxy 2 racks. I'm just going to castle first.
It is going to be a workshop against it. Something else to note, the time to build a house is 23 seconds. The time to make a worker is 27 seconds. So by waiting for that last worker to start producing, he was completely fine for risk of supply capping.
Oh, that's really cool. It's something like like you were just saying, the build time is so small, but there is a difference between them. And if you know that, you can this early in the game. And it does look like Daz with the Galactic Brain take, known for practicing, at least by me and by some other people, having practiced a lot of 2 racks. On a map that has rush, on a map that it's extremely easy to rush. He has built no SimCity to defend it. Like, if he were getting 2 racks, instant build order loss, right? But since he's not, he's getting this castle first on this of all maps.
Well, he's also played against Slammer a good amount of times, and I'm sure he's expecting kind of mech play. And you can't push out with that first Gatling gun as mech. You have to either scout with a worker and risk losing it, or risk losing that first Gatling gun. Because either it gets caught by a raider, or it dies to a couple of wolves, and then you're playing an extreme defensive position for the rest of the game.
About what time, do you think that Slammer should start realizing that, wait a second, about now the raider should be showing up, right?
I would say
there is a raider.
I would say when the castle's just over half done, that's when the indicator should be. That's if you don't see a wolf, if you don't see a raider, then he's not going for any kind of super standard aggression, unless he's doing some kind of cheese.
It's actually ingenious, because by the time he hits this halfway point and he realizes, shit, he must be fast expanding. Boom, the first unit started for Daz. The chance to do damage has already been passed.
And Slammer, in reaction to not seeing any aggression, is going to go for that air style, but so is Dragon Archer Z. I don't know if he's going to go for drops first, or just get the ballistas ready to counter it. It's going to be interesting to see what Daz tries to do.
I will say that Destroy Call actually pulled me aside and was like, hey, when you're playing against your map, against 2 Papa, be prepared for this 1 base double mill style. You can die. It can fuck with you. Because if you notice, the ground distance is only a little bit more than the air distance. But gyros with decent air distance are really solid, and it's kind of hard to push up against a mech player when they're just sitting in their workers. So
something else, an interesting thing, I don't know if you caught it, when Slammer's castle finished, he actually transferred 6 workers over to get that kind of advantage of defending. In case there is that kind of all-in push against him, he will have the workers over there to either attack or repair with the Gatling guns, instead of just doing 4.
The worst case scenario would be to have the one that built the castle and 4 workers. And now you have 5 workers, but they can get focused down if you're up against some extreme aggression. And it's not impossible that you under them.
And now that the first gyro is about to come out, he's going to start going to scout or even try to push with those 3 Gatling guns. He may even run into Daz's scout.
Well, because the hope, right, is that he has these gyros, rather he has these gas attack the top side.
The caltrops are going to split up the force quite a bit, though.
That's so cheeky. That's so cheeky.
There are additional ones over in the natural as well, but we are about to see the first gyro come out, but the first ballista is already done, and is fully prepared to block that.
this is such a tight defense that like what on earth is Slammer 4 gonna do in terms of damage? Like the only damage he can do that matters is worker
The airship's
damage.
also about to come out too.
Yeah, he can only do worker damage, and has to be afraid of the ballista in a wide zone the entire time. And he's just kind of on this like half mech ground, half air army.
Not only does
not many with not much production.
Slammer's gonna have to take that third base to try to have some kind of an advantage. Daz has speed on his Gatling guns. He also has caltrops, so if he tries to run away, he won't be chased. And it does look like he's pushing.
Absolutely. And he's pulling enough workers that this repair is going to be crazy, and there's precisely 0 catapults over here on the side of Slammer 4.
And he has the airship as well.
Like a catapult versus 2 catapults. It's really scary. He's going to have this airship with 2 ballista to shut down all of the air aggression.
Caltrops going down already.
Yeah, this is a dire situation. Especially since, like, Daz Micro is, of course, yeah, there's workers being pulled, which is the only...
But the catapults can melt those.
Also, catapults are hitting units that are stuck in the caltrops.
And the caltrops are doing a lot of damage there.
Oh my gosh, this is just like a brilliant... Like, he set up the caltrops knowing he's going to repair, pull back, and then...
And the workers are just melting down to 1... we do have a catapult.
There's a catapult. And he's
no
like
losses aside from workers for Dragon Archer Z.
That's disgusting. He's lost at 5 caltrops and 5 workers.
And another worker is about to go down there.
Oh yeah. But these aren't +1 forge. It doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. 3 workers are constantly repairing in this catapult, because if they don't, they lose the game even faster. They can't out DPS the tower. This tower needs to go up, but there's 2 catapults here.
Meanwhile, the airship's just sitting around getting ready to drop the ballistas.
Yeah, the airship is just waiting, like, hey, just in case, right? Oh, is this cat gonna go down? Okay.
Meanwhile, we have a forge going down for Dragon Archer Z.
Oh yeah, that's what I like about this. And also, like, here's the story that you need to hear if you think that this game is close. Because, oh, Slammer 4, he defended somehow. He's got towers. He's got his own catapults. He can repair.
Worker count is 14 to 28.
Here's the other story. 57 supply to 28. Like...
He's also not able to macro behind this because he's too focused on trying to save what workers he does have left.
This is just a really good metagame, like, against his opponent metagame call. He's like, I think that you're doing mech on this map.
And he thought the mill, he was able to counter that perfectly.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not going to do mill. Because he could do that, right? And he could have turned it into my mills versus your mills, back and forth, who can repair what. But instead he was like, no, there's no repairing double ballista. And so he just went like 4 gats, 2 cats, and 2 ballista and an airship. He's just able to put on obscene pressure, and Slammer didn't have a chance to do damage this whole game.
And now we have a cata drop going down.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is disgusting.
I have the economy tab pulled up right now, and it's extra 1,000 gold mined from Dragon Archer Z and 1,000 gold less lost, essentially. That's not factoring in gold spent on repairing.
1,500 gold. Yeah, he's 2,500 gold.
The barracks going down and does get killed.
Economy is 2.5. Yeah, his economy is 2.5 times of that of Slammer 4. Like, Slammer is struggling to make workers. Yeah. Also, the idea that this gyrocraft is going to attack this is kind of laughable, because where are the ballista? Bring the ballista. Bring it. Yeah, like, what's crazy is that Slammer 4 has only for the majority of this game had 2 production facilities, a workshop and a mill. It turns out a workshop and a mill, if you're making Gatling guns, don't do too well against catapults and ballista.
Really, the deciding thing was those caltrops. It stopped the workers and allowed them to get killed and picked off very quickly by Daz.
He killed like all 4 or 5 of the workers that came to help.
And that instantly changed the game completely in Daz's favor.
Oh, absolutely. And he slowed 2 of the Gatlings down, which he could then hit with catapult shots,
Mhm.
which is something you would just
And another
never-
drop coming down here pretty soon.
That's
We
not
do have a
even the worst part.
gyrocraft going to scout out here, but it will get shut down by the tower.
Also, +1 upgrade on these catapults means they do now 2-shot workers.
And another worker goes down at that third base. Dragon Archer Z
Yeah,
is actually
there's-
supply blocked and floating at almost 500 gold now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he is getting upgrades on the way as well. Getting his +2
Yeah,
and
he's
+3 damage.
He went from being 30 supply up to still being 30 supply up, so it's not too bad. He could, like, he's still running away with this game. Like, look at this. It's not disrespected in any way. He's throwing down towers in his main and his natural. He's saying the only way and he's got his 3rd to have towers, he's got his 4th base, that's probably going to add towers soon. He's saying, okay, the only way I lose this game is if you cata drop and wipe out my economy. So I'm just going to not let you do that. And so Slammer has to play a straight up standard-ish mech versus mech, where he's down 30 supply. He's just now making his forges. He can't get any traction with his army. You know? That said, he's not dead, which is better than most people, would have expected. So kudos
Definitely.
to Slammer for not being literally dead.
More Caltrops coming down from both
More
players. Except the Caltrop does
Caltrops
die
coming
by the
down.
worker line from the catapult shots.
Rest in peace. A little bit of a drop.
And
You did what
Ballista
you
is
could.
able to start dealing some damage to that. If Slammer didn't catch that, he would have lost both catapults and the airship.
Oh, he's probably going to lose this airship if Daz is paying attention and wants to keep dropping it.
Daz
He
was
doesn't
falling
follow
for a
it
little
through,
bit.
but
It looks like
Yeah.
Slammer's about to get a 4th castle up there. And it looks like Daz is going for his 5th up in the top. Again, looking at upgrades, it's still a solid lead for Dragon Archer Z, but Slammer's getting his first damage upgrade.
Yeah, there's also going to be... It's now going to be +3 mech attack.
Catapult's coming
and-
along the side there.
So interesting. When he has +3 mech attack, and there's no plus attacks over here for Slammer 4, Slammer 4 does 56 damage per hit times 4. He doesn't... He 5 shots Daz's mechs, Daz's catapults. Daz, on the other hand,
And-
does 73 per. He 4 shots. That's a really big deal.
Daz is attacking from 3 different angles, all at once, able to kill, I want to say that was 4 workers? 6 kills on one of these
Here's also
catapults.
something... Slammer 4 is now climbed up to... Daz has climbed up to a 50 supply advantage. And
The house
he's
does go down,
grasped-
along with one of the
and
workshops.
He's grasped the pivotal thing on this map, which is you want to control this high ground. If you can control this high ground, you set the pace, you determine where they can and can't expand, you determine where you can and can't attack, you have retreat paths. Like, Slammer's 3rd is going to come under tremendous pressure. Like, a disgusting amount of pressure.
Another 6 workers just died in Slammer's main from a catapult shot. 8 kills on that catapult before it died.
That's
More
a hero
workers
catapult.
going down over in the 3rd over there.
I mean, you just look at the units lost at 33 lost workers for Slammer 4. Like, it borders absurdity. And especially with this
60
upgrade
pop versus
differential.
120.
I mean, now Slammer 4 shots Daz's catapults.
Slammer was
Boy.
able to deny the 5th castle in the top. But
Now
he
this
was...
3rd base is going to go down.
And the advanced workshop's gonna go down with it.
The drop that was attempted at Daz's 4th base is going to kind of fail because there's these towers here that make sure that, as long as, same idea, as long as I don't lose the game, I'm pretty sure I win the game.
And
There's
GG's
Slammer
called at
4
14
with the
minutes.
GG. Yep. And,
It was-
well played. Extremely well played. It was almost like a gross build order disadvantage.
Daz was
And,
able to
credit to-
predict what he was going for and counter it almost to the T.
Yeah, a perfect response there. a really ballsy response because, again, you die to pretty much any aggressive build if you do castle first on that map. Like, unless you are drastically better than your opponent and really confident in your work or micro. Like, 2 Den, that's bad. 2 racks, that's bad. Like, like serious 1 base pushes, yeah, that's really bad. So, yeah, just a good game plan for Daz.
He knew his
think that
opponent
Slammer-
and was able to adapt.
I don't think Slammer looked like he was mechanically outgunned. Although maybe, we'll see what he feels about it. But I do think it was just that planning. It was
I
just
do
a
have to go for a
disgusting
bit,
level of
unfortunately.
planning. It's unfortunate. How long?
Maybe 20
Fun, yeah.
minutes.
Swallow sadness. All right. Reasonable. So we'll get
Switch over
Daz
to...
correct.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right. Reasonable. See you soon. With that, we'll probably switch over to the Slammer 4 stream, I presume. We'll see what he has to say. So I wonder if he turned it off at all. I imagine he did, as without the control of the camera, it'd be difficult for me to show you what's going on the map. Wings are really good. Let's just talk about that. Wings are really good. Tasty. Okay, so I don't know if he's on stream or not still. I guess there is one extremely efficient way to find out, right?
Yo.
Hello. Let's see. Is he still alive? Oh, reasonable. Do. Yeah. Rax, mech, beast, or no balls. Reasonable. So, Slammer, are you going to...
Got the next game up. Sylvan Charm, Hero of Ages against Vizix.
So, Hobo actually had to dip out for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Is there any way that you're going to load up a stream, or it's up to you?
Well, I still got my stream going, so if you want to hop over, we can just...
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. This works out really well. So here we go. It is now 2-1 in favor of team... they were named Team Daz. What's their name now?
Latin Block.
Latin Block. So 2-1,
Yes.
Team Latin Block. I don't want to press you too much for what you thought you could do differently with respect to the game, because there is a possibility that if Hero of Ages wins, that you'll be in the ace match.
I will just say that I watched the replay. He went for castle first, which is just really nice against one workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Did not really expect that, and then his build that he went for is actually really strong as well.
Hobo and I were praising.
I was not expecting that build order. So,
well, we figured by the time that your castle was about halfway done or in the green, and you saw no aggression, you'd realize, fuck, like he went castle first, and there is nothing I can do about it.
I was thinking he would go maybe a fast 3 castle, which is why I was trying to pressure his third. But there's really nothing you can do to pressure a castle first workshop with a 1 workshop expand, because you can't really poke out too much because you could die to stuff like raiders.
Oh yeah, Hobo was saying much the same thing because he has more experience in that than I do. He says you can't just push out because what if 2 raiders show up? What if a wolf shows up? What if what if they have the 2 workshop all in on 1 base or something like that?
Let's talk about this game, because we got Hero of Ages here against Physics Fan.
Absolutely.
And Hero of Ages is going for a 2 Den, and Physics Fan is doing a 1 Rax expand with another worker doing I don't exactly know what.
Now, I have played a bunch of games against Hero of Ages and Physics Fan on this map, and it looks like Physics Fan, instead of he played a couple mech games, he didn't feel too confident on those, and he decided instead to do Proxy 2 Rax. There we go. There's the second Rax, and that's what I saw him do a lot of. And Hero of Ages, he knows that he's susceptible, right, to losing to a Proxy 2 Rax.
So I can give you a little give you a little inside baseball on our prep here, because I played Hero several times, and we were testing Castle First against 2 Rax, and it was just not good for the Castle First. You just die. So very similar to what Prankster was doing, we basically prepped the exact same defensive 2 Den build, where you scout with wolves for proxies, you get 2 Den, and you shut it down. And already he's found the proxy. So this is right in Hero of Ages prep here.
Oh, fantastic! So it's like when people in chess are running up against preparation, they just know what to do with the moves, so they have a better time clock. You kind of spared Hero of Ages the mental effort, because now
I'll even tell you what he wants to do now, because the plan now is to kill this Rax. Basically, you know you have the earlier initial advantage. So basically, Raiders versus Wolves, early on you're going to have more Wolves. So you can actually really pressure this Rax. Once the Raider count gets to like 4 or 5, then it starts getting bad for the Wolf player. But initially, it's going to actually be pretty tough for Physics to hold on this this barracks here. But it's going to be really come down to control here. Already, Physics, I think, is doing some pretty good control here. He's got a couple Wolves down, pretty low health here. No kills yet. But it's going to be up to Hero to really micro this well at this point. It's not easy, even when you have the build order here, because there's just so many Raiders that are just very good against Wolves.
I do like this wall that he's built, though, because now the Raiders have to TP in, which is very, teleport. They have to flash in, which is very dangerous, so they have to go all the way around. The Wolves are fine with that. It's fine if they go all the way around, because then the Wolves can flank them. So... yeah, I see what you're saying about how it's really dangerous. In Physics, while he does have 2 very low health Raiders, they're still alive. So their first hit, they're gonna kill any of these low health Wolves. You know,
getting a little scary for, it looks like Hero of Ages wants to expand. So he's gonna be taking his castle here. Ooh, almost gets a Raider. But it looks like another 2 Raiders might go down here. Ooh, 2 Raiders go down. This is really good for Beast.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Losing 2 Raiders is great.
Yeah. He's going to clean up some of these weaker Wolves. Oh, nice dodge to save one of the weaker Wolves. But I think you
like Hero to run away now.
Yeah. You just take these 4 Wolves and run away.
Do see the expansion for Hero already down. Nowhere in sight for Physics. If we look at the unit count, it's 14 workers to 12. And Hero's adding a couple workers in here. So he's going to really have even though Physics is expanding now, that expansion significantly later, 1 Rax is on the map, which is hard to hang on to. And he's behind on worker count. So really every advantage to Hero of Ages here.
Yeah, I think at this point, what he does is Physics' best hope is to transition to a normal game by saying, oh, okay, eventually this Rax that's proxied will die. And then it will basically be my 1 Rax expand versus your Castle First 2 Den. Because he did no lasting damage thus far, right? He hasn't killed any workers. He hasn't done anything super scary like that.
If we look at the units lost, Physics has been a little bit more efficient by about 100 gold, but that's actually pretty fine for the Beast player, especially as long as you're alive, right? That feels pretty fine.
Context, yeah, we would say that could be concerning if they were mirror builds. It's 2 Rax, 1 proxy versus Castle First. I think you're okay with being down 100 gold when your economy is going to be that much better.
Good micro from Physics, though, keeping the 1 Raider alive and really dodging around. I'd like to see Hero start adding on those snakes now.
Snakes are really the death knell for this, right?
It can be, depending on the numbers, because snakes do get 2 hit by Raiders, which is kind of rough.
Okay.
A couple low health Raiders here. If these get sniped, that's very good for Hero. I think Hero's focusing so much on his micro, he's not adding his workers as much as he should. So he's actually, although neither is Physics, because it's 17 to 13, so a really good income advantage for Hero of Ages. And there he goes, starts up those workers like he needs to. And he's now adding those snakes on.
Well,
and once again,
he also needs all of these raiders to stay alive because they're keeping his army safe. Like, this is his army. He needs these raiders to stay alive, because if like 4 of these 6 raiders die for silly reasons, well, his map presence is not gone, but it's significantly diminished. It's getting close to poll workers time. Like, there's not very many wolves left.
He just needs to chill for a little bit. Really, you can't fight like equal numbers, raiders versus wolves and stuff. Like, you really, really need to just chill, keep building units until you have like a nice supply of wolf snake. And then once it's a big engagement, then the raiders really start dying. Because like if there's say 10 snakes and like 5 wolves, that's really good. But if it's like 5 wolves and 5 snakes, that's bad for Beast. Because he needs to just not lose these snakes right now. If like they get hopped on like this, that's really, really bad. He needs to be rallying backwards and just hiding. And he's doing that with his units now, but his rallies are a little sloppy right now. So those rallies need to get fixed.
Yeah, this is all.
Because you gotta be so careful, because these snakes are gonna get jumped on at the moment because there's so many raiders.
They also have a lot of mana. So
look at Vizix. Vizix is not macroing. His third base only has 3 workers. He's got too many at his main. He's not really macroing behind. So if Hero can just chill and build his army, Vizix is, well, looks like he's now transferring workers, so he's sort of fixing it. But yeah, my gosh, look at the units lost tab though. 19 wolves to 3 raiders, ridiculous.
19 wolves and 2 snakes to 3 raiders, which is kind of silly. Yeah, he just needs to get like enough wolves to physically body block that the snakes can kill anything that decides to stick around for a little while. He just needs none.
Vizix could be jumping some of these damage raiders back, but yeah, it looks like slowly this fight might be starting to go okay for Beast. Now he can hold the ramp, and that is good. Now you can hold the ramp. I wouldn't mind getting dragons off 2 base here.
5 critically injured raiders that need to sit back and chill, otherwise they will die very, very easily. But the problem is, if they die, they don't keep going in. You know, Hero can just keep making wolves. He's got enough snakes. He can just keep making wolves, have some snakes. You know, like you're saying, 2 base dragon, and say, oh, you've got all these raiders. You must not have archers. You must not have an advanced workshop.
Now, Hero does have to be careful now, because Vizix has caught up mostly in workers. He's a little bit behind. He'll be catching up in a second, and he's now taking the 3rd base. So I think these added den might be a little bit too many den on 2 base, but and also that the dragons are going to come pretty late to deal with this fast 3rd base. But the main fight should be a fine for Hero now. There's just not that many raiders, or there's not the critical mass of Wolf Snake is the point where raiders are not so good. And now Vizix is in trouble because he has a couple archers mixed in as well. But once the raiders are picked off, the archers get crushed.
And the other thing is, too, he now has an army size where the wolves can call the bluff. They don't have to like play tit for tat back and forth micro. They can just keep moving. They can keep attacking. And if they just keep attacking, the raiders don't want that. Yeah, and now he's gonna, the first thing on his mind is gonna be cleaning that barracks, right?
Or maybe not. Okay. Yeah, he'll clean the barracks, I think, and then take a 3rd. So everything's really in good position for Vizix here. For Hero, because this barracks falls away, and now Vizix is back to 2 barracks production. He's got 22 workers to 25, so he's behind in worker counts. And really, he's behind in tech because we have dragon layers, we have upgrades coming down for Hero. Hero has just had more money throughout this entire situation. And in fact, when you look at the units lost, Vizix has lost more, just because when you look at the total units lost, it's 36 wolves, but look at that, 15 raiders now, which is so much gold.
Yeah, before when it was something crazy like 11 wolves or 14 wolves to 2 raiders. But now that all those raiders have been cleaned up, that's not a good sign, actually, for Vizix fan. He's actually lost 300 gold more, and his economy is about 1,000 gold worse. And he has to take this really aggressive 3rd base that's going to be very thinly defended, if at all, to kind of justify that. He has to pull workers, and I think
that tower's going to get focused on really fast by these stakes. I think
Hero takes this trade, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Hero's fine here. The archers just don't really have the DPS to deal with this nice snake count.
I don't think he cares.
He needs more soldiers, I think.
He loses every unit on this attack. He loses nothing from it. Because look at all these workers he's killing. Look at all this damage that he's doing. His units resupply faster.
scary thing for Hero is he does see a fairly saturated third base, so he doesn't know what the worker counts are behind that. He's still actually decently up and his expansion's coming, but he might be feeling a little bit of the pressure because he does see that Vizix has that third base. It's a little hard for Hero to know like where he's at in the game. Although he's got to feel pretty good from dealing with that big ball of raiders for sure. He needs to fix his macro. He's got way too many workers at his both expansions really, so he needs to get those transferred ASAP, and he's going to do that in a second.
But he is about to finish his +1 attack. If he could just make sure not to, completely end his army, and he has a good number of snakes, the snakes will carry the fight. And he's saturating his third base now, as you were alluding to. So with that upgrade, bit of a supply lead, his army, comparable. 8 wolves, 6 snakes, and a dragon to 13 archers. But with the attack upgrade, those snakes are really powerful. They're like old school upgrade powerful. Because, like you said, there aren't any soldiers over here, so they just get.
We're gonna have a mage transition for Vizix Fan here, which technically doesn't do so well against dragons because we have no advanced workshop for Vizix. He's really not gonna be prepared for +1 dragons. He does have a tower at his third or his natural, which is good. But in a straight up fight, these dragons could get really out of hand once Hero can get like 6 to 8 dragons with +1, +2.
Okay, good response here from Vizix. He doesn't lose any workers because Hero decides not to stay for it, but this is fine for Hero.
The one problem thing for Hero is if he adds on way too many snakes, he might have a problem because he's facing a lot of archers and mages, which really both hard counter snakes pretty well. But if we have a lot of dragons and like wolves from Hero, then Vizix is in trouble because the wolves can just get on top of everything. And they don't have to take as much damage from Flame Strike. Also, nice push in from Hero. He's going to attack the third.
Yeah, as he sees this giant archer ball trying to deal with the 4 dragons, because as you mentioned, there's no advanced workshop. There's no way to deal with this right now for Vizix other than to have his archers there. And yeah, Hero is just checking to see where the archers are. And the second the archers move away, oh, look, is that a mineral line?
Oh, the minerals, he did not move his workers. So many workers getting focused down here. It's down to 27 workers to 40 for Hero of Ages. We'd love to see a 4th base from Hero here. And a couple more houses. His supply looked at 120. But yeah, huge advantage for our Beast player here. I think he's going to win this pretty comfortably from here on out. The 3rd base, I think if he clicks on it with his +1 snakes, will go down.
Oh, it's done. It's done. It's just a question of how much he loses when he runs away. And Vizix, like, his only option here, I think, is to go all in. But there's so much production, superior upgrades, better tech, comparable army. Yeah, and I think he knows it. I think he's trying to go for it.
And he has no counter to the dragons, right? Like,
oh, not really.
6 or 7 or 8 dragons sitting behind, adding their DPS will actually kill this archer army. Archers are actually not that great against dragons, unless it's like really good numbers in their favor and they can stutter step and stuff. But in like a straight up fight, dragons actually do pretty great against archers in general, particularly with the upgrades.
Hero just needs to spend his money on nothing but wolves and make sure he doesn't lose this fight. And I mean,
the dragons doing so much good work though.
I mean, the dragons might even be able to win this fight by themselves. There's just so many of them, and archers, especially with the upgrade disadvantage, aren't going to do that. I expect we see a GG pretty soon because no ballista, no mana on the mage, like inability to ever take a 4th base, harassed to death.
And the upgrades, +2 attack already just finished right as this fight came. It was a sweet timing for Hero. +2 against +0. No soldiers in this army to speak of. And we're going to go to an H match here. We have a tied 2-2 as Vizix Fan is going to come to terms with his loss here. Hero of Ages pulling out a really clean win against Vizix Fan. Nice prep with the 2-den response to the 2 racks from Vizix.
Yep.
And just a good handling of the follow-up in general. G to the G. We have a tied series 2-2. OPCATA versus Latin Block.
So 2,400 gold tells the story.
Now, I am going to probably play the ace match here as well.
Okay.
So if you want to start your stream up to cast that.
I am not actually at my home. So I cannot do.
I will message. Oh, Hobo, can you start your stream to cast the ace match?
I believe I left it running the whole time.
Yes, but I can't control your screen, so it's difficult to see the...
So what's up?
I feel bad for
I might give it
hearing me eat wings while you were doing that. that's not ideal for anyone, but okay.
Would you like to catch me up on the previous match? I came in for the tail end and was able to hear your commentary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Physics Fan versus Hero of Ages. Physics Fan, Sylvan Charme, A4. Physics Fan went for a 1 proxy, 2 racks, only one of them proxied. And Hero of Ages went for a Castle First into 2 den. And the trades were extremely efficient for Physics Fan for the first half. He got a pretty scary ball of like 8 to 10 Raiders. And then all of a sudden, Hero of Ages had enough Wolf Snake, cleaned up the whole thing. There were 15 dead Raiders. Then he had like 6 dragons. And because he had no tech, right? Because he was on Raiders for so long, there's no advanced workshop. So Physics Fan has just a pile of archers and towers to defend against Wolf Snake Dragon on 3 fronts. Like that. So eventually he's forced to go all in, and guess who cleans up the fight? So Hero of Ages tied it up.
Nice. So that brings probably Dragon Archer Z against myself here on Ravaged.
Oh, quickly, Slammer, before you go, I think Destroyclaw's asking how are archers and mages hard counters to snakes? I think archers, they're more like soft counters, right? Because they have range.
Archers, yeah, okay. Archers really don't hard counter anything.
No.
But
mages have fireball, and like,
I think in general, archers engage at a nice range, and if they're actually hitting snakes, they'll kill them pretty quickly. The problem is like Wolf plus Snake is hard for archers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But Fireball definitely is better against snakes in general, I think. Because they have such low HP and they clump, so.
They want to clump. Like they're a DPS unit. You want to stick a bunch of them together. They just kind of melt the fireballs. By the way, Hobo,
Yep.
I appreciate your pipe messages. Truly top tier. Insightful.
Which ones?
The message where you just said pipe, the long L looking thing.
Oh, the long thing of absolute signs. Yes, lots of absolute signs.
Because we have a delay on the stream, it's a 3-minute delay still. When people are texting right now, they're spoiling people.
Oh, I see. So, I got it.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, this is kind of like when people are like, I don't understand. I didn't watch the game for this tournament yesterday. Why, and then on the Reddit, congratulations to the winner of the tournament, David. They're like, I haven't even watched the final yet. I'm like, okay, well then, could I have the self-control to not go to the Reddit page?
Well, were they expecting to go there and see it?
I mean, you should, right?
True.
No, I don't think that's unreasonable. If there's like,
well, I don't think it should be within the title of the post, at least in that hypothetical.
I don't see why not. I mean, just don't go to the Reddit. Now, it's a bit different here because obviously if you're just playing, like watching, if you have Little Wargame on one tab and you have the stream on another tab, I don't get it. Anyways,
it makes sense.
I'm not a fan of spoiler.
It makes sense to only watch the stream in that case.
I spoil things for myself all the time, so maybe I'll just accept that I'm a weird person in that I don't care if I'm spoiled because I'll go fucking find the answers myself.
I'm gonna join the map. I don't know if you're already in there.
Yeah, I'm already.
Jazz is getting water. He'll be here.
No, but this is like when someone's like, "Oh, you spoiled the end of the book." Well, I mean, if the book is good, then reading the book is still good, isn't it? Yeah, it is, isn't it? The only way we're spoiling it that someone doesn't want you to actively harms things is like if you're reading a murder mystery and not reading it because your eyes are running over the words of a page, but like you're reading it, getting deep into it, trying to solve it yourself, like going full bore, as an intellectual exercise. And like someone says, "Oh, you're reading Hound of the Baskervilles. You know the villain is bleh," and you're like, "Great, thanks, dude. You are actually the top tier of personality in this world. Thank you for your contributions to humanity, you scumbag." Like, unless you're doing something like that, I don't care. Spoil me away. Like, someone correct me as to why that is there. Gyros.
What's up?
So we have the rematch.
Is Slammer still in the chat?
Question?
Is Slammer
Yeah,
still
I'm
in
gonna
the
hop
chat?
out in a second. I'll hop out here.
Okay. Just gonna double check. So, Slammer's probably gonna have to do something different.
Oh, Slammer definitely has to do.
If he does the exact same thing, he's gonna lose in the exact same way.
So yeah, Slammer's gonna have to do something different. Although in fairness, Daz like opened up a portal into his mind and fucking excavated his game plan and put that shit on a map and posted it to a wall. He was like, hey, I see that you're gonna do this. I'm gonna do something incredibly risky that will get me murdered by about 5 different builds. But because I, can literally see through your soul, I'm just gonna do the right thing and win the game. So I mean, if Daz exists so deep inside of Slammer's mind that he can read the inside of his skull, I don't know what Slammer can do. But I do agree. I've heard tell, don't know if it's true or not, that Destroy Call has been cheesing Daz and has gotten some wins that way. Maybe Slammer
And with the
could do that
mechanical
for the
control
Ace
that
match.
Slammer has.
Yeah. Like just, show the aggressive ballsy side. You played a straight up game and Daz perfectly blind countered your build. Like it was fucking unreasonable how he did it. Actually, it's so good. Like it's inexpressible how clean that was. But yeah, I think if you're Slammer, just pick a cheese. Game, it's the Ace match.
So this one's going to determine which way this team's going to go for this. A lot at stake for that. It's going to set the pace for a lot of the rest of the tournament and how other teams play against them.
I'm giving shit by people.
And then there was Hobo. It reminded me of the game Thurks vs. Works, if you remember that one. Where Works just blind countered the double mill aggression. Except to a different scale, very different degree. With less information, he countered it more thoroughly. But I guess that's because of Slammer's... Slammer tends to play mech, and the mech will tend to go for that. So it would make sense for Daz's build there.
Can you two calm? Thank you. That's fair. Alright. So, I do think that Slammer needs to do something that's not his normal mech opening, because he's going to get abused if he does that again. And yeah, he might lose hilariously if he does, but if he does his normal opening, he's just going to get read like a book. So here we go. Up in the top left side, he already won in this exact matchup earlier, and now in the Ace match, it's Dragon Archer Z.
And in the bottom right, we have Slammer.
All right, now Slammer. It's all on Slammer. It's all on if he does something unorthodox or does something regular. Because I'm going to be honest, there's a reason Daz is the best player in the game. Like, if Slammer does his normal thing, not looking good for Slammer. I know normally the advice is, and you're backed into a pressure situation. Just do what you naturally do. That's not a good idea in this case. It's gonna end somewhat suboptimally.
Daz is going for very similar builds once again.
Yeah. Daz is doing Daz is doing house in his main.
An
Which,
important
you know,
thing to note, though, is, again, throughout the series and all the previous matches, Cheese has not done historically well. So let's see if Slammer can break that trend.
Now, in fairness, the cheese that people are they doing it against stronger players, or are they, like, you know, 'cause you
Generally,
would
the
expect
trend has
stronger
been,
player-
if you think your opponent's stronger, then go for the cheese. You're seeing a different style from Daz this time, though. Instead of the fast expand, he's going for a Rax with a Worker Scout.
Oh, it's a proxy. It's almost sure that this is
Rax
a
proxy.
Rax. Yep.
And Slammer's again going for that Workshop first opening.
Yep.
Interesting placement for that proxy.
Also, like, this 2-Rax Raider is actually pretty safe against other cheeses, you know? Like, yeah, it has the onus of execution, which Daz has shown that he is no stranger to and he's not afraid of. But if you find out that you're getting, I don't know, like, all-in 2-den, okay, that's fine. You know, if you find out that you're getting 2-Rax, okay, fine, let's have Raider micro battles and see if you can do better than Dragon Archer Z. Okay, that's a challenge he willingly accepts.
Mm-hmm. I did also notice the fact that he completely stopped worker production so he could get these raiders out.
Yeah, it's really smart. He's got he went up to 10 workers, and then he went up to 10 workers, cut, and then he just made his racks.
Slammer's scouting.
Good. Slammer kind of showing some fear, might get false information. He's gonna see the raider if he noticed it. And if he did, he's going to think this is a normal 1-Rax up until he gets here.
This Gatling gun's in danger. This is why you can't push out with mech too easily. And it's going to get sandwiched.
There's also teleport. And there's teleport. It doesn't even have to get that. Okay, yeah, there we go. He wastes one more teleport than he needed to, but now...
But even with that, since... This is the major issue with mech play.
Yeah, there's 2 raiders coming in. And there's got to be a sick feeling in your chest if you're Slammer 4. You're like, oh, jeez, not again. Not again, please. Also, once he has the high ground, he can start doing teleport shenanigans. And that's just going to be gross. No one wants to deal with that. Here's the first
Workers
unit.
dying, or getting low on health.
Here's hoping this Gatling doesn't die immediately. Like, that's all this Gatling wants, is to not die immediately. The base.
The 3rd raider is now inside the base with a 4th one about to reach there.
And now, like, Daz isn't going to let these raiders get easily caught. Like, yeah, okay, this 1 raider goes down. That's good. Ooh, okay, some damage on this next raider. That's fine. It's going to take a lot more than that, because we saw, now granted, the range difference was a big deal, but we saw that Hero of Ages wasn't quite able to clean up against Physics Bandit, and this...
Ooh, it almost gets out, is caught by a shot by a Gatling gun.
Now this is actually alright, you know? There's some raiders coming over here, but it's only these 3 raiders. And yeah, okay, they kill 1
The worker
Gatling.
count's actually tied right now, is something important to note.
Yeah, losing this Gatling would be really bad. Like, really bad. There's the 2nd one. Okay, it looks like this
He could potentially get it with the worker. Nope.
Yeah.
So now, Daz is actually ahead in workers, but he is about to be behind a full castle.
Yep. Which doesn't bode well.
But Daz is also ahead by 100 gold lost, and also mined by almost 200, it's about 150.
Yeah, the disadvantage that he has is that he is still making raiders. Like, it seems he's stopped making units. Yeah, he's going to go make his castle now. So he's just going to be content to sit on these 5 raiders and say,
and they're going to
win the game.
And another Gatling gun goes down. With 4 raiders inside the base, no Gatling guns, only 1 about to be finished. That is a pretty dangerous position.
He got a good
1 raider does go down, another worker's about to die. Another raider may go down if it can get focused by the Gatling gun. Has 3 HP left and it's going in the main. Single work, 0 health on the raider.
It's impressive.
Another worker has died.
Oh no.
And the Gatling gun goes down. Impressive kill right down there with the Gatling gun.
Daz has gotten ridiculous. Oh my gosh, he doesn't even kill the 2 critically injured, 1 health away Raiders. He might eventually kill this one. Okay, there
He
you
just
go.
killed both, but at the cost of a Gatling gun. He's got 5 workers not mining. It's currently 10 workers to 9 workers still after all this time.
And he can't make a Gatling. He can't make a Gatling. He's just now starting it because he couldn't make it before.
His economy has been about half for most of this game now.
Both players have 10 workers, which, if he can clean up these Raiders in his base, might be okay.
Except we have more Raiders on the way right now. A third one about to get down to the base, and a 4th one just after that.
Okay. And there you go.
It's now tied for worker count, with the advantage to Daz with 4 Raiders to 1 Gatling gun.
That house should help a great deal. Okay.
Another Raider about to get down there.
Looks like this Raider in the main is going to die, but at what cost?
They're going to potentially pick off a worker, 2 workers.
Some more workers killed.
A lot of lost mining time right here.
Focus fire isn't there. And
the Gatling gun does go down. It looks like another Raider's about to... If he can teleport, he can get away.
Oh my god.
Except the Gatling gun could take out all 3 right there. Other one's going down.
Okay, it needs to be careful not to... Okay, there we go.
It is 12 workers to 10.
12 workers to 10 and 2 Raiders to 1 Gatling. That's not unmanageable, right?
Except Slammer's also not mining with almost all of his workers. He's got 3 consistently mining now.
But for all of that, they've lost about the same amount. Now, it's a little bit worse for Slammer for the lost. And frankly, if you look at the economy, it's an absurd difference because as his pressure has been on his micro, and Slammer's has been on his micro and his economy. Like, these Raiders are doing work.
Almost 800 gold difference between the 2 players.
Some good micro over there, but the thing is that these 3 Raiders are still a threat. These 4 Raiders are still a threat. Okay, these 3 Raiders now, but he picked off another couple of workers, and he gets another.
And the Gatling gun's going to go down. He's going to be able to teleport out.
He teleports the weak one away. Like, he still has the ability to do it. Yeah,
and
there we
GG's
go.
called at 8 minutes.
That is ridiculous.
There's
Absolutely
just too much pressure from the Raiders.
He just killed the Gatling guns too many times. Like, I don't think there were ever more than 2 Gatling guns.
I think at most there were 3 for a brief moment.
Just kind of silly.
Just
all
too
started
much
with
Raiders.
what you were talking about earlier. It all started with what you were talking about earlier about how you can't be like cavalier with how you move out that first Gatling gun, which I understand why Slammer did it. He's trying to scout for cheese.
But he already had the worker scouting. At that point, it's just way too much of a risk. You need it by the repair. Otherwise, most early units will kill that single Gatling gun. It's one of the biggest issues with mech play. You can't be extremely aggressive from 3 minutes.
So, Hobo, that was a great deal of fun. It is unfortunate that Slammer 4 lost 2 best of 1s to the same person, and Team Daz, or formerly Team Daz, wins. Like, that's really impressive shit. I think a lot of credit has to go to Kaitaro for actually managing to make that game happen that way, because Sequel wasn't there for Slammer 4's team of, I believe they're called OPCATA. Sequel didn't crush Kaitaro, which I think is a likely result. And so Kaitaro got to play against another prankster gangster. And it says that you cut the stream.
It says it's still going for me.
Interesting. Okay. So I was just responding to what people said in the chat. So, but interestingly, I mean, we saw that because
Stream's still going on my end.
Kaitaro wasn't playing sequel. Kaitaro got to play against Prankster Gangster, and Prankster Gangster used his prepared build, but Prankster Gangster wasn't practiced against Kaitaro, probably didn't know what Kaitaro's tendencies were. It was playing on Xenos, which is in a map earlier this week, he had probably never played before. And so, like, I don't even blame Prankster Gangster for that. He did his job. He won his game against Ashio or Achilles. Then he had to play Kaitaro, and Kaitaro wins, and then all of a sudden, Slammer loses his best of one, and then Hero wins against Physics Fan, which is kind of, I wouldn't say expected, but was it in the realm of possibility, maybe even likely. But because it's 2-2 instead of 3-1, it goes to the ace match. Because it goes to the ace match, we get that replay right there, and that's what allowed it to happen. So, like, credit to Daz for playing 2 good games, showing off some impressive micro in game 2 and decision making in his first game, but it's really kind of on Kaitaro for clutching out an unlikely win when, if you're looking at the lineup beforehand, you wouldn't have expected him to. So, well done, team formerly named Team Daz.
It's like we were talking about yesterday when we were going over the different power rankings for the teams. The focus of Daz seeing the real strength of it is if they can get to that power or that ace match.
Oh yeah.
So
if they get to the ace match, like, they're kind of favored in any 1v1. I don't think that's even a controversial statement.
Sequel's absence, I think, really hit their team hard. Slammer's team hard.
Well, how about with that? This has been a fun weekend of Team League. I'm probably gonna log out, go watch people play Final Fantasy, maybe drink some alcoholic beverage of choice. What are you gonna be up to? You're gonna be playing Little War Game, or you got other things you have to do? What's on your mind for Sunday?
I'm probably gonna finish up some homework and kill a dragon with my brother.
Okay, fantastic. So wherever you are out there, do whatever you want to do this Sunday. Enjoy. I had a blast, Hobo. Here's to next week.
I could potentially do some stream practice matches with people if they'd be up for that sometime around Thursday. People from any team in the tournament, or even if you're not participating in the tournament.
There you go. So if you want some games, hit up Hobo. And if you want beverages of choice, hit up your fridge. Take care, everyone.